Have you ever felt like you're playing a game where the rules are rigged? You strive, you climb, you hustle, but at the top of that ladder, it still feels empty. See, the world tells us blessed are the strong, the rich, the famous, the self-sufficient, and we nod along, even when the path leaves us feeling spiritually exhausted. But what if there was a better way, a completely different set of rules for happiness, for fulfillment, for what it means to be fully blessed? Today, we're going to be journeying back to a hillside overlooking the Sea of Galilee. The air is still. The crowd is a mixture of devoted followers, curious onlookers, and skeptical critics. A teacher, a carpenter from Nazareth, sits down, the customary position for a rabbi about to deliver a profound teaching. And what happens next? It isn't just a list of nice ideas. It's the constitution for an upside-down kingdom. This is the Sermon on the Mount, and it begins with the Beatitudes. Imagine the scene. There's no stage, no microphone, just the sound of his voice carrying over the grass. He looks at the faces before him, the poor, the mourning, the hungry, the marginalized. See, these aren't the world's winners. They're the ones who felt left behind. And he opens his mouth and says, blessed. That word in Greek, makarios, it doesn't mean happy. It's far deeper. It means divinely fortunate, spiritually prosperous, the kind of unshakable well-being that comes directly from God, regardless of your circumstances. He starts with, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This isn't about being financially broke. It's about spiritual bankruptcy. It's the person who finally stops pretending that they've got it all together. It's the honest cry of, God, I can't do this on my own. I have nothing left to offer you but my need for you. And Jesus says that's the entry requirements to his kingdom, not strength, but acknowledged weakness. And then he looks at those with tears staining their faces and says, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. In a world that says, toughen up, Jesus says, let those tears flow. This is for those who grieve their own sin, their brokenness, and the deep injustice of the world that they live in. Jesus promises that God himself will draw near, not with platitudes, but with a comfort so profound that it mends the soul. And then he continues, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. We hear meek and we think weak, but the word means power under control. Think of a powerful wild stallion, tamed and submitted to the will of its master. It's lost none of its strength, but its power is now channeled for a far greater purpose. The meek person isn't a doormat. They're strong enough to surrender their power, their rights, and their agenda to God. And in a stunning reversal, Jesus says these are the ones who will inherit everything. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. You know that nasty craving when you've missed a meal or two? That deep, deep hunger? Jesus asks, do you feel that way about goodness, about justice, about a right relationship with God? He promises that this spiritual desperation, it won't be ignored. It will be completely and totally satisfied. Then Jesus shifts from our internal posture to our external actions. He says, blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. It's a simple, profound principle. When we choose to forgive the person who hurt us, when we extend compassion instead of judgment, we place ourselves in the river of God's own mercy, and it flows right back to us. He continues, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. This is about more than just outward behavior. It's about having a heart that is undivided, a life where our inner world matches our outer world. It's integrity, singleness of purpose, and the reward, the most incredible thing imaginable, to see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Notice that it doesn't say blessed are the peacekeepers who avoid conflict. It says peacemakers, the people who actively step into brokenness in families, in communities, in their own hearts, and they work to bring God's shalom, his wholeness, and his reconciliation. This, Jesus says, is the family resemblance of a child of God. And then finally, the one that must have shocked them all. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. Blessed are the persecuted? It's the ultimate paradox. The world says if people mock you, you're doing something wrong. Jesus says if you're mocked for his sake, it's a sign you're doing something profoundly right. It's evidence that you belong to another kingdom, and your reward is not here on earth, but stored up for you in eternity. My friend, these aren't 8 separate suggestions for a better life. They're a single composite portrait of a citizen of heaven. It starts with acknowledging our need. That leads to grieving our sin, surrendering our will, and craving righteousness. And that inner transformation, it naturally flows out into mercy, purity, and peacemaking, even in the face of opposition. This is the upside down construction of God's kingdom. It redefines greatness. It redefines success. It redefines what it means to be truly, deeply blessed. So look at this list again. Which one challenges you the most? Which one do you long for? That's your starting point. That's the invitation from the King calling you to find your blessing, not in the world's power structure, but in a beautiful, radical, upside down values of his eternal kingdom. Hey, my friend in Christ, my name's Adam, and I want to say thanks for making it to the end of this video. If you have a second to comment or like, it really does mean a lot. And I do these daily. I hope to see you here on tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed or following the channel. Until then, onward, and God bless you.